HOA wanted my tactical trailer towed. It's registered as a mobile command unit. Have you ever been targeted by someone who thought they could control your every move, only to find out they were dead wrong? That's exactly what happened when Karen, the self-appointed queen of our neighborhood HOA, decided my tactical trail-era registered mobile command unit was an eyesore that needed to go. What followed was a clash of wills, a storm of petty rules, and a lesson in standing your ground that left the whole community buzzing. It all started on a crisp Saturday morning. I just parked my trailer in my driveway, a sleek, custom-built beast designed for emergency response training. I'm a volunteer coordinator for a local search and rescue team, and this trailer is my pride and joy. A mobile command unit equipped with workstations, satellite communications, and enough tech to coordinate a small operation in the middle of nowhere. It's not just a trailer, it's a lifeline for people in crisis. Registered, legal, and fully compliant with state regulations. It's my way of giving back to the community. But Karen, she didn't see a lifeline. She saw a monstrosity ruining her vision of suburban perfection. I was sipping coffee when the doorbell rang. There stood Karen, clipboard in hand, her lips pursed tighter than a drum. "This thing in your driveway violates HOA regulations," she snapped, pointing at my trailer like it was a junkyard relic. "It's an RV, and RVs can't be parked in plain sight. You have 48 hours to remove it, or we'll have it towed." Her tone dripped with smug authority, and I could practically see the power trip sparkling in her eyes. I tried explaining that it wasn't an RV, it was a registered mobile command unit, built for public safety, not camping. I even offered to show her the paperwork. But Karen wasn't interested in facts. "Rules are rules," she said, turning on her heel and marching off. I wasn't about to let this slide. I dug into the HOA bylaws, a dusty 50-page document that Karen clearly thought no one would bother reading. Lo and behold, there was no mention of mobile command units, only vague rules about recreational vehicles and commercial equipment. My trailer, built by a specialty manufacturer for tactical operations, didn't fit either category. It was a mobile command center, not a camper or a delivery truck. I printed out the bylaws, highlighted the relevant sections, and cross-referenced them with state laws on vehicle registration. I also reached out to my buddy Mike, a lawyer who specializes in property disputes, to confirm I was in the clear. "You've got this," he said. "She's overstepping. Hit her with the facts." Armed with my research, I emailed Karen and the HOA board, politely explaining that the trailer was a registered mobile command unit, not subject to the RV rule, and that towing it would be unlawful. I attached scans of the registration, a letter from the manufacturer, and a photo of the trailer's official decals. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Karen replied within hours, doubling down. "The board has reviewed your request and deems the vehicle unacceptable. It will be towed by Monday if not removed." No discussion, no compromise, just pure, unyielding Karen energy. That's when things got interesting. I wasn't the only one fed up with Karen's reign of terror. My neighbor, Sarah, a quiet single mom who'd been fined by Karen for her son's basketball hoop, overheard the drama and decided to get involved. She'd been secretly rallying other neighbors who were tired of the HOA's overreach, people who'd been slapped with fines for everything from unapproved flower beds to kids' chalk drawings on the sidewalk. Sarah had a knack for organizing, and she suggested we take this to the next HOA meeting. "Let's expose her," she whispered, her eyes gleaming with mischief. The twist? Sarah had been collecting complaints about Karen for months, and she'd found something juicy. Karen had been using HOA funds for personal projects, like landscaping her own yard, without board approval. The HOA meeting was held in the community center, a stuffy room packed with about 30 neighbors. Karen sat at the head of the table, gavel in hand, ready to steamroll anyone who dared challenge her. I stood up, calm but firm, and laid out my case. I explained the trailer's purpose, how it supported disaster response and saved lives. I showed photos of it in action during a recent flood rescue, where we'd coordinated efforts that brought 12 stranded hikers to safety. I read the bylaws aloud, proving my trailer wasn't an RV, and presented my documentation. The room was silent, but I could feel the tide turning. Neighbors who'd never spoken up before were nodding, whispering to each other. Then came the bombshell. Sarah took the floor, her voice steady but fierce. She revealed her findings about Karen's misuse of HOA funds, holding up bank statements she'd obtained through a public records request. Gasps rippled through the room. Karen's face went from smug to ashen in seconds. "This is slander," she shrieked, slamming her gavel. But Sarah wasn't done. She passed around a petition, signed by 20 residents, calling for a vote to remove Karen as HOA president. The room erupted in chatter, and even Karen's usual allies looked uneasy. Karen tried to regain control, claiming the trailer issue was a distraction and that my disrespect for the rules was the real problem. But the neighbors weren't buying it. One older gentleman, Mr. Thompson, stood up and said he'd seen my team use the trailer to help during a wildfire evacuation. "This man's doing more for this community than you ever have," he told Karen, his voice shaking with anger. Another neighbor, a retired cop, chimed in, saying he checked my registration himself and confirmed it was legal. The momentum was unstoppable. By the end of the meeting, the board voted 4-1 to drop the towing threat. More importantly, they scheduled a special election to replace Karen, who stormed out in a huff, muttering about ungrateful neighbors. Over the next week, the community rallied around the idea of reforming the HOA. Sarah led a campaign to elect a new president, a level-headed guy named Tom who promised transparency and common sense. Karen's reign was over, and her own pettiness had been her undoing. She'd picked a fight with the wrong person, and her abuse of power had finally caught up with her. In the aftermath, my trailer stayed right where it was, a quiet symbol of defiance in my driveway. Neighbors started stopping by, not to complain, but to ask about the trailer's features or share stories of their own run-ins with Karen. One even brought me a pie as a thank you for standing up to her. The community felt different, lighter, like we'd all reclaimed a bit of freedom. I still take the trailer out for training missions, and every time I back it into the driveway I smile, knowing it's more than a vehicle. It's a reminder that sometimes, doing what's right means standing firm, even when someone's trying to tow your life away. So what do you think? Was I right to fight Karen's overreach? Or should I have just moved the trailer to avoid the drama? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear where you stand on this.